Do you remember when, after a decade of discernment, Archbishop Cordileone finally said that Nancy Pelosi is not to receive Holy Communion? She went shortly thereafter to the Vatican, where at a papal mass she was given Holy Communion. And the same day that she received Holy Communion at the papal mass, Pope Francis issued the document Desiderio Desideravi, which is a document called out for heresy by numerous bishops, because it says the only thing necessary to receive Holy Communion is the faith. And that is contrary to the teaching of Christ in the Church and the Catechism. But nonetheless, it was said now in a papal document. So the confusion is so massive. But even beyond that, Pope Francis criticized Archbishop Cordileone twice publicly for having said that Pelosi should be denied Holy Communion. And he did it, that is, Cordileone did it, in the most generous, loving, some would say he took far too long to discern it and was much too compassionate, but he did it in the most compassionate way possible. But yet even still, it's condemned. So it is stunning what's going on now with regard to the infidelity in the church. It's a horror story from beginning to end.
Well, we've been writing a lot on our website, sign.org. We've been writing about these kind of things and posting articles like you've been doing now, literally since the internet came around. And it was amazing. We even got the name sign.org. But I'd like to say something per how man hacks at the branches of evil, but heaven goes to the roots. This was almost a night that I'll never forget. I had dinner around the year 2000 with Alice von Hildebrand in Philadelphia. It was at a Catholic meeting, and she grabbed my elbow, and she knew I had written a lot on Freemasonry in a book I wrote called Hope of the Wicked. And it was about the globalization of I called it a cabal of evil, which then that became the deep state. And yes, it was organized, and it had an agenda, and there was money behind it, and there was a policy movement behind it, with groups then like the UN and the NGOs and governments, and frankly some very bad people in very high places that people like Bella Dodd and had even written about how they had placed a clergy to the highest levels, all the way to cardinals who had been communists. She wrote that in her book, Brotherhood of Darkness. And so Alice said something to me at dinner that I've never forgotten. She said a leading Mason had come to her husband, Dietrich, and he had told him, listen to how profound this is of how understanding how the church works. He said, we will destroy your church through obedience.